heavy on my sound.
You don't know me like Rafa, you don't know me like Jackie, you don't know me like Jack.
Throwing me in, then you're kicking me out. Got my head spinning, no kidding, I can't pin you down.
ayenayo kujongelwa phansi bengathi uganja umuntu usisikhwebu sensangu uhamba endleleni. You see sometime
yeah that because inkolelo yami ke mina ke my lord inkolelo kwa kwale nyama nilwa ngani thini kwathini inyama ngafu bantu bangayithi inyama nangifumana pha izikhamini yakwazi
they mix everything you see them are liars, it's them too, all the thing confusing the people, turning the right to wrong, turning the wrong to right, everything.
Cause all of me loves all of you. Love your birth and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I give my all.
A fast-growing town filled with different diversities and numerous economic and social activities. Those vary from public transport, art activities in street corners, and other activities. It has various cultures. However, the Rastafari culture is escalating in growth. The Rastafari refer to Mthatha as Babylon. The concept Babylon is a very important term for the Rastafari, which refers to human government and institutions that are seen as being rebellious against the rule of Jah. Rastafari is a defiance of Babylon. There are certainly two facts that cannot be anyhow debatable. Firstly, that everyone has but little knowledge about the Rastafari movement ethics and their lifestyle. Secondly, there is a negative perception that is attached to their beliefs and their way of doing things. That is the primary reason why, as the restorers of broken walls, we have decided not to justify them, but to provide them with a platform to address their matters of concern in the form of an informative documentary. The Rastafari movement is a complex culture. However, we have Ya Andisa and Ya Meester to dissect it for us, starting with its origin, as we are heading to the Ludidi building.
Rastafari is the highest level of the Christian faith. It's the fulfillment of the biblical prophecy, the Topic prophecies of the return of the Messiah to sit upon the throne and be crowned the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and the conquering lion of the child of Judah. That's who Rastafari is.
Rastafari is liberty. We call it liberty. It's life, the way you live life, the way you life. We call it liberty. It is based upon ancient times before the call, before the book, before education, before anything, which was based upon that. But then the Black Power movement now, the fulfillment of prophecy, that was about from about 1937 November. That was just the fulfillment of prophecy to bring about clarity now about how we're supposed to carry our own lives in this time of conditions.
Seemingly, Means of income for Rastafari people vary from being street vendors, artists, and other common activities, which is one key factor that makes them visible in every street corner. We've visited a group that trades in one of Mthatha's biggest streets, namely Madeira Street, next to Cathedral, in order to hear more, as they are proud members of the movement.
Mighty God, blessed. Mina ngizakuxelela ukuthi ngeRastafari yabona mighty God. iRastafari nguhulumende engophuyamu yabo. Uhulumende oyi-Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress of Salvation yabo. Uhulumende owabantu abansundu, you see. Yeah, owaphunyiswa ngo-1958 nguKing Emmanuel Charles Edward. We are Ethiopians, you see. Yeah, eligama lithi Ethiopia, it means the people with the bent faces, you see. Bent faces, the people with the dark faces, you see. It's we those people, you see. Yeah, this government, uyawabrutalize amalungelo ka-INI black man, you see, especially uRastafari man, because uRastafari man amoleswa ngelinye ixesha ubone ayenayo kujongelwa phansi bengathi uganja umuntu usisikhwebo sensangu uhamba endleleni, you see, sometimes, you see.
Most of all, to that question, my lad, also to add something about this thing, because it is too crucial and they must know in this last judgment time. Hence I told you about that. We know that even Nakabneta was there, even we know his students and the company never ran away, Majesty. Even now in this time we know the prophecy which says scribes and Pharisees are sitting upon the seat of Father Moses. Father Moses is a lawgiver, Majesty, man who come to lead the people of God. You see, my lord, the him who commands how people must live, how to eat, how to dress, how to do things so that people can commune easily and be closer and nearer to thee. Because when God is acting nigh to us, your temptation even loses their power. So what them do? They put these politicians, they put them as these scribes and Pharisees. And what them do now? They mix everything now. You see, them are liars, them do all the thing, confusing the people, turning the right to wrong, turning the wrong to right. Everything they do is messing up, my lord, in the world. So now we see that, this bomber-clad Satan is ruling the world with what? With this religion and this politics. So we can't mix, Majesty.
You went to Zone 14, a newly born location situated in the west of Mthatha. Here, the Rasta people have a camping site where they once in a while meet for so-called provincial freedom gatherings. Fortunately for us, elders, leaders, women, youth, and even kids happened to be present on this very afternoon. Just when the sun was going down, we sat down with them for a number of vital questioning, but it seemed as though we asked for a hand, the group collectively gave us the entire arm. Well, in this part, Ross Benjamin and his elder will be taking us through the Nyabingi order and their way of doing things.
Nyabingi, which was a revolutionary, a warrior queen, a fighter against colonialism in Uganda. So right now, Tina as Nyabingi warriors, si capture ishwe, si spirit, warrior spirit, si possessed, si spirit is kama mauna Nyabingi. Singamarasta, we're not fighting for only political freedom. We also want cultural freedom, spiritual freedom, and also mental freedom, yes, So Nyabingi is about the redemption of black people, and the motto of Nyabingi is death to the enemies of the African race and their puppets.
We got lawyers, we got even INIS journalists. Before, we were not allowed even to do that. So, even that was the way he liberated INI which is black people from oppression, because all this come from oppression to the invaders, to the colonialization and imperialization, which they come to Africa to invade, but they couldn't invade to Ethiopia and conquer Ethiopia. So the fate of Rasta is in Ethiopia. That's why we call the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering lion, because he's the one who's come as a second Christ in this time of I. He was come as a lamb before, he come as a lion now. Really?
When you meet a king man, that is your balance. It should balance. It should be someone of your nature. Yeah, found like in praise one, because you become one. You become one. So lambda yenzayo, you also do it. So funeka nibe overstanding eyi-one of izinto yabo ukuze nikwazi ukwakha, because kaloku uburasta sisizwe, so that kubekho i-progress and bukhule uburasta. That's the only way uzawukhula ngawo. Baba umuntu ibhalansa irasta sine-guidelines. Nakwi-guidelines it is stated that a being man and a being woman, yabo, because kaloku azifani indlela yokucinga. For instance, is a rasta woman, no sis ongelo rasta, but different in so many ways. Kala appearance no overstanding those ways. For instance, in Babylon, you found that kwelapha elizweni, you find that phayana uyaxelela ubana uyafana yabo kukhona lesbians mostly, like we are equal nabantu abangotata, uyabona, like abayo essential akhonto thina siyalingana nabo, of which i-teaching engekho right.
Tell the world about Jah. Tell the nation about Jah. Tell them come for Jah.
I think because I've been a Rasta ever since birth. My father was devoted Rasta. So I followed through school under the brainwash, but I managed to conquer as Rastafari. Because me know me was way back before birth. So even if I'm yet in your being, I is not lost. See? So I've been Rasta before I was taught at school. I knew how to walk, talk with respect, and hide and dig way back.
Yes, sir. That's why the youth here always come to Rasta to learn about the black people, so that when we are older we will be wise and know to have farmers for black people to empower in there, to know to have those big shops like China malls, but for blacks now, to be black malls. That's why we get the black teaching in here with Rastafari.
Rastafari, the first and forever. Hail I Father Creator.
King Alpha and Queen Omega, the beginning without end, the first and forevermore. Sila.
Esi skipha ndisinqobileyo sino bawo wethu. Ubawo wethu simbiza ngoba nguKing Silasi. uSilasi wa-electwa ukuba kube nguye inkosi yamakhosi ngelo xesha. So ke ngoku lona simbiza ngoJah Rastafari, uSilasi I, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah.
Kongon sande matefen masambe hashalam. Kongon sande matefen I wanna touch him back, I wanna South Pacific, I wanna South Pacific.
One thing you have to bear in mind is that the Bopo Shanti order has a sophisticated focus when it comes to worship, and they perceive the Rasta movement in a much more different manner.
To come in with our opening hymn, first hymn also, for this blessed Sabbath of Aina, taken from the secret songs and solo, Stand before the throne.
On a Saturday afternoon, we then attended a Sabbath gathering which took place at Lindile location in Umtata, where we got a full observation of their sabbatical processes as well as an input on their family dynamics as Rastaman.
All the people of the world, see, including those mentioned, but yeah, as we as a Bogoshani, we are the anointed people, the anointed black people, you know, to do our Father's will, you see, and then to follow our Father's command and laws, you see. So what makes different to other people, we as Bogoshani, we are the sabbatical keepers all time. That is our way of life. Sabbath, we kept holy. You see, we work 6 days. 6 days is a command also to us. We work for our government to uplift our strength. You see, is to uplift us, to work through the government, even to free Mother Earth. You see, but we rest. You see, at the 7th day. So we as Bogoshani, we understand these other Rasta mentioned, but we know that we are the fifth kingdom of Jesus Christ. You see, the kingdom that came to stand and fight for equal rights and justice for one and all. You see. So our mission is forwarding, and our mission is to bring all those who call their self by Rastafari in one unit, in one person, and they know one understanding.
Before I even I was found by King Rastafari, before I even received the light and through the faith, I was trotting with the Empress till then. So I told her that, me, I'm rising Rastafari, you know, and you must be Rastafari. You see? So through that, my Empress think that was the bond of love. She never gave me any trouble of refusing or denying what I was bringing. She tried to be with me, and we just took it like that, hand in hand, and we tried to practice the right. Up until this time, as we are still practicing this holiness, because it takes time to be holy, but surely we have to be holy because our Father is holy also. King Selassie, Jah Rastafari. Hence that Rastafari ngumnonabile yone. Empress when he say ikona itanu Rastafari, it is much blessed for a Rasta man to try and get involved with such an Empress if he feels like he needs a woman, you see, beside him, you know. Yeah, but through that, if an Empress is around I, it is also wise to know why the Empress is here, because it is rare for an Empress to know and understand Rastafari without being taught or without growing with family Rastafari. So choice is righteousness here. If my woman can choose God and righteousness and truth, I must see otherwise how to do things and try to find someone who will be in this thing, because
bemdaka mntakwethu kumele sibe ngaphandle kubinqwazi kekele kunani ungabukekiyo wena mbona wena dread anganqali into esinjalo into abe anti dread no ubukeke nenkangeleko yakhe nziphe umdaka dread inyawo hamba ngenyawo no my lord. Jah was clear. Jah is clear even this time, man. Clean that man, clean, yeah, my lord.
Unlike other religions, Rastafari is not primarily a religion with clearly defined and universally accepted code of belief or philosophy. However, they have commonalities when it comes to biblical use, which is why we have decided to hear from a person that is from another religion, which is Christianity, and that is none other than Pastor Asaf Uzile, who is an ordained minister of the Church of Christ.
Through speaking, andikadibani nabo ndidibane ku-head on kodwa ndiye ndidibane nabo ekuhlaleni okanye eshop. Bane-values ke, one of the values abendizithandayo kukuthi respect one another, ukuthi love one another. Now zizinto ke ezibalulekileyo endiye ndazidiscoverisha empilweni yam. Ziyi-two izinto. Idarha ayikho semthethweni by ilizwe, ayikho semthethweni. Anyone ofunyana uba esebenzisa idarha nangoluphi uhlobo, that person uyafakwa a prison and then a sentence for that behavior. Two, ngokwezwi likaThixo, izwi likaThixo ayikhuthazi, aliyivumi okokuba kusetyenziswe any substance abuse. I-substance abuse noba iloluphi uhlobo, especially idarha, because it corrupt and destroy the mind zabantu. Ngokwe-research esiyenzileyo nakwe-research esiyenzileyo ku-Christian wise, one, idarha yinto destroy even umoya lo wakho ukulimaza. Lastly, akekho umuntu that today osendaweni because of idarha.
Claims of human rights violation are often made against the South African Police Service. Among many, their cry is that whenever the police look at them, they see them as branches of marijuana. Due to this perception, the police then demand thorough searches when they come across Rastaman and his belongings. This is certainly a deprivation of their right to privacy. As the restorers of broken walls, we then decided to make efforts to repair this matter by putting ourselves on the line as a medium of communication and a means of reconciliation between the seemingly victimized parties.
They keep in prison I and I. Now they cut locks here in Tata of all Rastas, but we don't find two other prisons.
And the South African Police Services. Fortunately for us, we met with an employee that deals with criminal activities around the central business district of Umtata, Tando Mafumengane.
Umuntu obanjani, umuntu ophethe idrug, noba inokulinganisela ongakanani, noba uyithatha noba uzoyenzani, akadabangaba idrug yabantu. Banezibheki ke zabo ngathi bangabantu abakhenkethayo kubona abantu bakwezabheki isikakufike impahla ibe yiyo ibe zibhiskits okanye nje into nje noamanda ngaphezulu kwezimpahla banjani enza kanjani most yabo xa ikwenda uyathi umuntu help into emxhumanisa nothixo wakhe uzakwazi ukuxhumana nothixo funeka aqale atshaye ukuze abe ispirit sakhe sitheni sentro usemoyeni funeka abe utshayelene naxa igqina ufuna phela utshayele. Ndizawuthi akekho into olelungelo ukuyiphatha la. So i-most bahlala benayo. So yiyo le nto siye sithi xa sibabona uyayazi uba uzoba nayo laa nto. Either uya enkonzweni uzoba nayo okanye ubuya enkonzweni unayo. And ke ngokuba nento seke nayo ngokuba nezikonzi esebezenza kuyovula laa nto bathi sizimayisiti.
Well, in case you're sitting and wondering what their take is on the world's political system, Akona, a street vendor, a proud son of Ethiopia, a Rasta nation, knows it all.
The government of INI is righteousness, you know. They want everyone must equal rights and justice for all. Yeah, yes, Majesty. So, and Church can't order this government of INI, my lord. You know. Yes, my church. We don't include everything, politics, everything that is dirty in this government of INI, my lord.
All right.
So that's what I have.
Lord Gabriel Mugabe, yes, I'm uplifted tonight because we could try to sustain the righteousness. Yes, I got you.
When that King, the Honorable Mugabe, mighty God, is a man who stands for the rights of black people living in this time.
My personal view about Rastafarian, first and foremost, I've got nothing against Rastafarian, that I should state beforehand. And personal view is that when you look at the culture of Rastafarian, it backdates to the 19th century. So when you look at that, from the 19th century till today, it's been a culture that has been contained and very strenuous to the modernized world. And again, what I very personal culture yabo, unlike lento seyisenzeka ngoku kule mihla. So uyijonga lento yamarasta na personal ndithi hayi andinangxaki nayo, ayonto entsha, ayonto esinoyithini. Yes, I've been in many situations interacting with Rastafarians, and come to think of it, my varsity roommate was a Rastafarian. So, and from that experience, I learned a lot from him because he used to meditate, as he said. He was a very peaceful guy. I have never, for the 3 years we shared a room, I've never heard of that he was involved in a fight. They didn't drink alcohol. All he did was only smoke. The international herb used to call it the international herb.
Princes and princesses shall come out of Egypt. We Ethiopians shall stretch our hands and hearts unto God, our Lord and Empress, Jehovah Jah Rastafari.
Turn back, 'cause I want to see my Jesus someday. I got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I want to see my Jesus someday. Come on, everybody sing. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I want to see my Jesus someday. I've got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I want to see my Jesus someday. They say this: goodbye world, I stay no longer with you. Goodbye pleasures of sin, I stay no longer with you. I made up my mind to go God's way. The rest, that's it. I made up my mind to go God's way. The rest of, come on, say it again. Say it. Goodbye world, I stay no longer with you. Goodbye pleasures of sin, come here, one of them. Stay no longer with you. I made up my mind to go God's say,